Yeah, I feel like I need to explain myself before we get into today's topic. So, one day a couple months ago, I was researching Iowa Governor Burr Sherman for, I don't even remember why now, when I came across a 1905 obituary for him published in the Annals of Iowa, which discussed at length a guy named John L. Brown, who served as state auditor. Now, initially, I thought this was a pretty innocent mention of another elected official. I mean, aside from Rob Sam being just an all-around awesome guy, when was the last time you even thought of the state auditor? Exactly. However, as I kept reading, this innocent mention developed into quite possibly the most insane instance of political drama the state of Iowa has ever seen. So you know what? Screw it, it's a video now. So, who exactly was Auditor Brown? Well, John Lee Brown was born in 1838 in New Jersey before relocating to Indiana in 1854, Iowa in 1856, and then back to Indiana in 1859, just in time for the Civil War to break out, leading him to enlist in the 70th Indiana Infantry in 1862. Anyway, after being discharged in March of 1865 on account of him losing his arm at the Battle of Osaka, Brown began a brief teaching career before returning to Iowa in 1870 and getting into politics, being elected as Lucas County Auditor in 1875 and then State Auditor in 1883 under the administration of former Auditor and now Governor Burr R. Sherman. Once sworn in, Brown the Auditor became well known and respected as he was actually pretty good at his job, while Brown the person became despised due to how difficult he was to get along with, as well as him being incredibly uptight. This extreme distaste for Brown's personality earned him a fair few enemies in Des Moines, including Governor Sherman, who felt like something was off about him. So with Governor Sherman already gunning for Auditor Brown, it comes as no surprise that when in 1885 it was found that there had been various irregularities in insurance fees reported to the state treasurer, that the governor immediately set up a commission to investigate Auditor Brown. And what the commission found didn't exactly paint Brown in a good light, as they found many undated receipts which didn't specify where the fees were coming from, which were collected by people not employed by the state auditor's office. And if that seems bad enough, well, hold on to your horses, because when the commissioner asked to see additional documentation to verify what exactly was going on, Auditor Brown said he couldn't access them as they were stored in a vault, which would make them near impossible to acquire. Stored in a vault. So, mounting evidence against Brown, Governor Sherman did exactly what I imagine he'd been wanting to do for the last 2 years.
Hey man, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but hey, screw it, pack your stuff, get out of here, you're fired.
Nuh-uh.
Hey Bill, can we get the militia up here?
So with Brown being forcibly removed from office by the state militia, Jonathan Battelle was appointed as auditor by Governor Sherman, and everything was smooth sailing once again, the Hawkeye State. Well, that was until January 1886, when the newly elected Governor William Larrabee reinstated Brown as auditor, feeling that the whole situation had been based solely on personal grudges. Well, alright, then that seemed like the biggest waste of time ever, but now we've got back into the calm waters, right? Nope! It only goes downhill from here. Because come April 1886, Brown was suspended once again by Governor Larrabee, this time without involving the state militia and instead with the backing of the Iowa legislature, who subsequently would open up an impeachment inquiry into the now 2-time removed auditor. And what they found was pretty cut and dry, because hidden within the Code of Iowa was Section 3778, which upon trimming down stated that the state auditor must keep an accurate record of all fees collected by their office. Meaning that Auditor Brown had knowingly broken the law when he didn't specify when or where the fees were collected from. Not to mention the whole disposing of the documentation and refusing to give up his office part of the story. So with this pretty damning evidence laid out before them, the Iowa House voted 79-19 in favor of adopting articles of impeachment on the basis of misdemeanors and malfeasance in the auditor's office. And in the Iowa Senate, it wasn't looking much better, because despite them being less gung-ho about the whole situation than the Iowa House was, they did look increasingly likely to vote in favor of conviction. However, it was in this moment of darkness that a beam of light shone down upon John Brown, and that beam of light was called...
Hey, wait a minute, we're all Republicans here.
And because politicians are politicians, the Iowa Senate acquits Brown on all 30 charges. Whoa. So after escaping political evisceration by the skin of his teeth, Brown declared that he would not run for re-election in 1887 and promptly retired. only to come out of the woodwork around a decade later for the legislature to hand him a $4,000 check as a half-hearted apology. Yeah, that happened. So, I guess if there's a moral to this story, it's, yeah, I got nothing. Politics suck.